and 7 Spanish angels took another angel home. Hey, I'm Willie Nelson, and you're watching HempRock TV. We don't run, and we don't compromise, we don't quit, we never do.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am MSgt Tony Vance, the voice of Freedom's Voice. Here we go again. I'm sitting here with Grandpa's World War I veterans hat on. I got my Freedom Isn't Free coffee cup. Let's talk about your vote. It seems there's been a lot of squabbling over the last election and over plans to interfere in the next election. Now let's set some facts straight before we start. The 2020 election has been proclaimed by Democratic and Republican election officials alike all across the country that it was the safest and most secure and most participated election in our history. No serious voter fraud has been found anywhere. Even in the sham audits that Republicans pushed for, because they were going to definitely find fraud. And I think it was Wisconsin or Arizona, there was like 90 more votes for Biden after they got done. I don't know. But Donald Trump, in his presidency, tried to inject as much confusion and disbelief as he could in our elections so that he could corrupt them and remain in office. We already know that's true. Some of the paperwork that the January 6th committee has received describes a plan for the president, Trump at the time, to order the military to seize voting machines. Seize the voting machines. Do some kind of audit, which might take about 60 days past the day he was supposed to leave office. Now, that's not the only one. 7 states, Republicans in 7 states, sent letters to the National Archives, and all the formats are the same, all the wording's the same. And these letters claimed that the people that were mentioned in those letters and signed those letters were the real electors from that particular state. Now, I understand on 2 of those forms, they put a caveat. This is only in case the election is overturned. So those guys might get away with it. But the other 5 states, the list of electors they sent, Republican legislators signed those letters, knowing that those were not the real legislators or the real electors to the Electoral College for that state. We got them on video here in Michigan trying to get into the Capitol to claim they were the real electors. And they were not. And as far as I'm concerned, every Republican who put their name on those letters is committing election fraud and should be prosecuted. Donald Trump's about to land in the same thing for what he did in Georgia, trying to talk that guy into falsifying 11,000 votes so he could win. That's interfering in our national election, for God's sake. So, just to be clear, the 2020 election was the securest, most participated in election we've ever had. And that's Republican and Democratic election officials all saying that. So now let's put that behind us. But since that election, Republicans across the nation have tendered close to 500 bills, not all of them, becoming law, but they're all designed to limit your ability to vote. That you can still vote, you have a right to vote, but we're going to make it as hard as we can for you to do that. They've already been busted twice for writing gerrymandered districts. The court sent them back twice, Ohio and somebody else. I think in Mississippi there's two districts that were totally African American, and they gerrymandered that until now there's only one. It's terrible, and it's cheating. It's cheating. I don't think Democrats should do it either. And I like the way most states are getting rid of gerrymandering by setting up commissions to set the districts that are neutral or supposed to be. So there is an attack on your vote. And the interesting thing is, in some of these bills, the bill says that if the legislature, let us say here in Michigan, there are Republicans mostly in charge. Republicans don't like who was actually elected. They can nullify that election and proclaim who they want. I think in one or two states that law is passed. They can nullify your vote. And don't get me wrong, they will nullify possible Democratic voters, independent voters, and Republican voters. Your vote's going to be nullified too. You may think that's hunky-dory now, but what if the tables were turned? And besides, it's crooked, it's illegal, it's un-American. I mean, in Georgia, they passed a law that if you're waiting in line and I gave you a bottle of water, I could be arrested. That's insane. And that shows you how far they'll go. There is a certain percentage of people in this country, around 30%, they happen to be Republican, and they're more than happy to end our democracy to maintain power. They don't show a whit of that what they're doing might not be the right thing to do, or might not have integrity, or might just be illegal. They don't seem to care a whit. And so we have to fight back. And the best, I know there's a lot of organizations, legal organizations, stuff fighting back with lawsuits and whatnot. That's how they stopped the gerrymandering in Ohio. But we have to do our part. If they say you have to jump through a hoop to vote, do it. If they say you have to wait in line all that time, I know. I don't think I could do it. I'm disabled. But we have to do it. It's the only way we're going to be able to stop this stuff. We need a huge majority so that we don't have to deal with people like Manchin and Sinema, who seem to think that their position is more important than anything else that goes on in the country. Manchin talking about, we don't want to be an entitlement society. He's one of the most entitled guys in the damn country. What are you going to do? We are an entitlement society. I work 40 hours. I'm entitled to my pay. At any rate, in Sinema, I just think she's in it for the grift. I mean, if you're skipping meetings with your constituents and taking meetings with high-level right-wing donors and stuff, I think it's a sure sign you're not really on the side of the people who elected you, but that's the way it seems. At any rate, be aware. There is an attack, a full-fledged attack on our democracy. And the basis of our democracy is the fact that everyone gets to vote, and the count is neutral. These election officials, they're really neutral. Most of them, the ones that show up and work, the ones people on the right demonize as some kind of fraud creators or something, I don't know. It makes no sense to me, but it all lessens the ability of us to save our democracy. Vote. Vote no matter what they put in your way. Vote, do it, and don't hesitate. As far as cancer goes, I see the cancer doc on Friday. I think he's going to say I'm cancer free. We're going to monitor and maintenance status. I'll let you know next time. Y'all take care.
Hi, I'm Willie Nelson, and the Willie Nelson Teapot Party and I endorse Veterans for Medical Cannabis Access.
Just roll me up and smoke me when I die.